Okay, so basically we have base erosion profit sharing in the Model Convention on Taxation, or the Tax Model Convention on Taxation. So how do we prevent double taxation? To prevent double taxation, we must percentagize based upon destination. So in essence, each transaction and each carriage weight of each transaction is percentagized based on the destination of the transaction. Alright, that's one, both on individual transactions and on mass transactions. But we should have a separate taxation on manufacturing. So in essence, a manufacturing tax on goods taxed or goods manufactured. But how do we allocate the percentage rates? Percentage rates on allocation of manufactured goods. So, what do? This is what we do. We take percentage of source materials and we tax the finished product at a rate adjacent, or rather marginally calculated based upon the rate of material cost. So in essence, the amount of labor and the amount of cost of materials should be calculated into the evaluation of the product's percentagized rate. Or we can just tax at a percentage of the sell price of the manufactured goods. 1 to 2, it's basically the same thing, it's basically equal. But anyways, when it comes to income, how do we tax income, right? So we're going to tax income based upon how nation states handle their taxes. To prevent double taxation, we must attach a percentage value based upon the source of those incomes. So say percentage of that income coming from Norway and a percentage of that income coming from Germany and Australia and Japan should all be taxed at a percentage of that source income, right? Basically, tax credits can be applied based upon percentages of that income coming from another country. And then that tax credit can be applied to a residency of another state or to the income tax of another state that is taxing income coming from their state. So in essence, if I'm receiving income from the United States was to tax all of my income, I can obtain tax credits from other nation states of which I had income coming from. So basically, you have to account for your income coming from each nation state if there's going to be a maintainment of taxation on an income basis level from each state. And if you have international business and international taxation, you must have calculated accountancy of taxes from each individual nation state. Therefore, to, and some generate a payroll tax calculator for each income, you must calculate the labor of which each labor percentages their work in each nation state. So in essence, calculated accountancy of how much labor is performed in each nation state. That is, if it's manufacturing or if it's actual service-based or contract-based, you have to do a calculator. Now we can have certified surveyors and certified tax professionals who actually, account based upon, travel tickets and travel plans and actual, time tickets of laborers. If there's no time tickets and it's basic service consultancy, you have to account based upon travel tickets and actual account for all processes of transactions based upon your travel vouchers or your travel arrangements. So in essence, for international taxation and consultancy, we must have taxation based upon travel and time spent on a calculated level within each nation state on a consultancy level. However, on a payroll manufacturing level and a contract temp level of temporary workers working in different states, whether it be artists traveling and doing shows and actual collections of actual income coming from each venue or each music show, or whether it be based upon actual speaking events or technical jobs, like IT expertise. It all has to be calculated either by invoices or by actual time vouchers of travel plans and travel tickets between different nation states. Those are all factors that must be calculated and accounted for. Therefore, in regards to this matter, we must also account for payroll taxes in the sense that we have to account for double payroll taxation. So how do you prevent double taxation of payroll taxes? You must also account for the travel arrangements and the travel times of each movement of each laborer if they're working in multiple states, traveling from one place to the next. So in essence, for payroll taxes, if you have laborers working for you that are traveling from one place to the next, you must in essence either create a system of marginal taxation of payrolls, in which payrolls are taxed at a marginal percentage of time allotted or time spent in each nation state, and then allocated via virtue of percentagized rates of taxation on payroll per time spent in each nation state, similar to income and invoices and travel tickets being accounted for and taxed based upon movements of an individual or a business enterprise in a consultancy group. And when it comes to manufacturing goods, as I stated before, it must be calculated and accounted for by way of destination and original incursion of manufacturing allocation of a finished product. So in essence, taxing the income of materials and taxing the materials, and then marginally percentage calculating some sort of value to tax rate on a finished product to in essence formulate and calculate a final tax cost for each set of manufactured products or tangible goods, so to speak. So in essence, goods that can be bought or sold on the market, whether they be raw resources, whether they be finished products, each have a percentagized tax rate allocated to them. And that must be how international taxation must be handled from a state-to-state relationship. Though international transaction taxes can also be calculated and summed up in a sense of manufacturing business taxes and destination transaction taxes, of which can all be specified in the sense to each individual's personal transaction rate, or specified to an international business transaction rate based upon guild or sector or industry or SIC code regulatory notion or affair, or so to speak, based upon international regulatory identification. We can tax based upon those codes, so to speak, on an international transaction basis, both for business taxes and individual tax rates for individuals' transactions. Yet, state-by-state international transactions or state-by-state transaction taxes can each be taxed at a percentage rate of each city or state itself. but that's all handled based on state taxes. But that's aside from income taxes. So this all must be calculated in a international framework for global taxation, of which can be used to allocate resources towards healthcare facilities, health financing, and infrastructure projects on a global scale. Thank you. Specified in the sense to each individual's personal transaction rate, or specified to an international business transaction rate based upon guild or sector or industry or SIC code regulatory notion or affair, or so to speak, based upon international regulatory identification. We can tax based upon those codes, so to speak, on an international